we're back with another video. And this week, the Las Vegas Raiders are trying to recover from that horrendous loss to the Carolina Panthers. And some news has surfaced that reporter Logan Reaver has gotten out to the public and put a video on Twitter, and we'll show that video right now.
That meeting, bro, was huge, bro, because it what won't just about like the players. It was about everybody, like the whole like building, bro. So we really got personal, and yeah, bro, we talked about it, bro. We learned from it.
I definitely think it was a conversation between the team that needed to happen, and it was productive. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got things. Everybody in the room, I think, got things off their mind that I think that they needed to. So.
Obviously, AP does a really good job of allowing us to do that, and the best thing is peer pressure and us holding each other accountable, like I said, because we're the ones out there on the field. We're the ones who have to make the catch, the pass, the tackle, whatever it may be, so why not?
Got to play better. I mean, as simple as that. We got to play 4 quarters and not just 1 or 2 quarters. We got to play 4.
So you see some of the players, Zamir White, Nate Hobbs, Jack Jones, were all asked about a specific meeting that happened on Monday between the players and the coaches. And when AP was asked about it, he continued to deny it. He continued to say, that's between me and the players. But the players have gone ahead now and said what was, going on behind closed doors in that Monday coach player meeting. So as you see, Zamir White was pretty adamant that it was a pretty big meeting for the team and the coaching staff to kind of go over and get out their frustrations. And it seems very similar to the Josh McDaniels situation, if I'm being honest, where the players really kind of chewed into him and ripped into him last year, about 2 weeks before the firing. I think that was after the Bears game when the Brian Hoyer fiasco happened. So, it definitely is big news, but for us, I think, you saw how we reacted to the Carolina Panthers loss, which, essentially we think kills the season. But, these guys are seeming to, express their concerns and, talk it through with the coaching staff. But one thing I do have to say is, Luke Getsy's probably being quiet through all these interviews, kind of just sitting back and watching these people go at it as if he's not the problem and the elephant in the room. But until Antonio Pierce realizes that Luke Getsy is never going to succeed, as he never succeeded in Chicago, I think the Raiders are in trouble.
Yeah, and I think this player meeting with Antonio Pierce is never a good sign. You don't want to have these meetings between the coaches and players. We saw that, like you said, last year with Josh McDaniels, and obviously that didn't end well for our season. What I'll say is that this gives me a little bit of concern about Antonio Pierce, and that's because he's not taking the accountability for himself. We saw him in that post-game press conference. We posted a clip of this on our YouTube channel. He didn't take any accountability. He said, yeah, people are making business decisions, which I don't think is the case. Because when you look at how we're losing these games, yes, the players are not playing well, but when you look at the reason why they're not playing well, it's because the coaches are not putting them in position to succeed. For example, Antonio Pierce called out the offensive line and said they played bad. They got to play better for us to run the ball. But when you look at the coaching decision, the personnel of the offensive line was a joke. Jackson Powers-Johnson was healthy against the Panthers, and he only saw 21 snaps. And when he played those snaps, he replaced Dylan Parham, who's been a solid right guard for us, instead of left guard Cody Whitehair, who's been terrible. It should have been Powers-Johnson going in for Whitehair. So as a coach, that's your mistake. You got to be the one to make the personnel decisions. It's not on the players to sub themselves into the game. So that's on Antonio Pierce, and he's not taking accountability for that. And, the defense, Patrick Graham needed to be better. He didn't prepare for Andy Dalton. It didn't look like that. It looked like they were preparing for Bryce Young. We said that during the last video, and the zones were wide open. Patrick Graham, he runs a zone defense, and the Panthers outcoached the Raiders. It wasn't on the players' execution. We have better players than the Carolina Panthers. It's not that the players just taking plays off. That's not what we do here. And Antonio Pierce, his calling card, the reason he was hired is because he's supposed to be a motivator. That's his number one trait as a head coach. And if you're not able to motivate your players to play hard, that's on you. That's not on the players. That's on you as a head coach. And you got to take that accountability if you want to be taken seriously and not looked at as this clown interim guy who we look at him as that right now. and he's got to step up and take some accountability for himself, not blame it on others. He's got to take accountability. Luke Getsy has to take accountability. Don't just blame the players. So that's my take on it.
Having these meetings where, players are expressing their concern is great. It's great if, you identify and kind of, source out the problem and what's going on. But here it's kind of just like for lack of a better analogy, is a he said, she said type of thing where the players are unhappy because of play calling. And Antonio Pierce doesn't seem like he doesn't seem to believe there's anything wrong with the play calling. Luke Getsy is just standing there, acting like, oh, these guys are fighting, like all because of something else, and it has nothing to do with me. Then the offensive line is struggling because of the personnel, like you mentioned. The personnel, like, it makes no sense why Parham was taken out of the game unless he was injured, which he was on the injury report early in the week. But it would make more sense if Whitehair came out and JPJ came in. But then the other thing is the quarterback. Now they're not making a change. They're sticking with Minshew, and it's going to be a disaster. Sticking with Minshew against the Browns, he's going to get hurried and rushed and sat down several times. I'm pretty sure this game. Myles Garrett's going to be coming after. Myles Garrett's on the injury report right now. Has 3-4 different injuries he's going through: foot, ankle, Achilles. I've read 3 or 4 on there. But doesn't matter how beaten down the Browns team is. It's us. It's just us that's gonna, shoot ourselves in the foot again on this game. And it's gonna cost us. I think it's gonna really cost us, and it's gonna be difficult for us to kind of, go out and have this team meeting on Monday and then go out and put up, 25, 30 points on Sunday, because the team is all disorganized. And I think, as our good friend Raider D said, it could be Aiden O'Connell in the next week or two. It could be. And for our sake, we hope so, because, Aiden O'Connell does not, he obviously in that one drive has looked better than Gardner Minshew did all season. Doesn't matter if the game was over at that point. Doesn't matter if it was against the Panthers defense, who clearly smoked us, which some of you are probably going to say, oh, he looked good against Carolina. Yeah, but Carolina just came in here and ran up the scoreboard on us. So that has nothing to do with it. It's more has to do with that the Raiders are poorly preparing the players to play on Sunday. And that starts with the coaching staff. It starts with Antonio Pierce, this guru motivator we think he is, yet he seems to know nothing about football. So, Raider Nation, it's going to be a long year, like we've said, but let's see what they do against the Cleveland Browns now. I mean, this supposed meeting has definitely, hopefully, unified, like, Zamir White said at the beginning of that video. Zamir White really said that, the players feel, good and confident, and it was a must-needed meeting for the team. So, yeah, keep liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends. We're fortunate enough to be monetized now, and, we love the support. We read and respond to all your comments. So keep those comments coming in. Click on our shorts. Our shorts are, kicking ass. So we really appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next video.